Gamers, today we are going to be checking out the newest, the freshest, just out of the oven. We just got it out of the oven. The newest ladder win rates for the latest patch. So it's been 2 weeks since the patch, actually, exactly. The patch came out April 4th. It's the patch that didn't have too many changes, but the map pool changed and some things got nerfed, some things got buffed. Let's check it out. So actually, let's do any first. So overall, you can see how many games there are, which civs are the highest, and yada yada. The least played civ is still Delhi, actually. I think this is like a year and a half in a row where Delhi is the lowest played civ. And it's sad, it's such a cool civ. Malians is actually second lowest, which is kind of interesting, to be honest, because I thought Malian popularity would increase, but I guess not. So Ottoman is highest with 22k games, then HRE, then Malian, then Delhi, then English. And funnily enough, the civs that have pretty decent games played are at the bottom. But these are all levels, okay? So these are all leagues combined, which we're gonna dive into, Let's go to the core league. In bronze, HRE and Delhi have the highest win rate. That's funny. Together with English and Ottoman. Rus is at the lowest, China, Malian. I mean, I kind of get this, and Abbasid, I would probably say those civs are more macro heavy and a bit more complicated, while these civs you can just kind of like make units or Burgrave and just YOLO and you know, kill people. Silver League, Delhi goes down a bit. I mean, again, it's overall it's looking fine. Rus and Malian again at the bottom. Gold, Malian starts going up. Malian starts going up. And let me tell you, the higher we go, the higher Malian will go. There it is, already on platinum. Ottoman with 50%, 54% win rate. Malian with 52, Delhi 51. Which, by the way, Delhi is having positive win rate in every league so far, which is not something that happened before. I'm pretty sure Delhi, in general, always had negative win rate. So that's cool to see. It seems that maybe more people are trying Delhi, or people are just playing it better. I'm not really sure. But in platinum, I would say it seems pretty balanced, pretty fine. Maybe Ottoman's a bit higher. And I wonder if people are just doing the like 3-4 archer rangers build with mass archers and Sipahi. I would assume so. And again, that build is just making a masses of units and just pushing your opponent. So it's interesting to see that already in platinum, Malian is this high, by the way. Diamond League, Malian at 54%. Shit. Okay, so the win rates here are kind of wild, actually. 3 civs have 53% and above. So, for those that don't know, in the previous patch, I'm pretty sure Rus had lower win rate than this. And now the reason why Rus has high win rate again is because, well, there are multiple maps where Rus is good. Baltic Rus is really good. Mountain Clearing Rus is good. You got 4 Lakes. Rus, one of the best civs on it. And then you got Highview, which is an old map, but pretty good for Rus. And then you got the Hideout, the golden map for Rus. So I'm a bit surprised that Rus is not potentially even higher in some of the leagues. Maybe not higher than 53%, because I think Rus in this current map pool has really good maps, and I'm not surprised that it's doing well. Let's just say that. English at a solid 50.1, Abbasid, HRE, French, China, and Mongol. So we've seen Mongol, China mainly be at the bottom together with French. So that's something to take notice of. And now we're gonna check Conqueror and above. Now, I do want to say, Conqueror is a wide spectrum of skill levels, okay? I would imagine Malian has the highest win rate, then Ottoman, then Rus, and then I don't know the next civ. Damn, Ottoman is down under. Delhi with 44%. And this is what I mean with like Conqueror's a wide, you know, range of skills, because Delhi is one of the best civs in the game, and it has 44% win rate, which is pretty funny to see. Like Abbasid having higher win rate than these civs is kind of crazy, because in my opinion all 4 of these civs are better than Abbasid, but it is what it is. Now, we've seen a lot of people play French, and I think part of the reason why French is actually in positive win rates, since I don't remember the last time that French was in positive win rates in Conqueror and above. I think the reason for that is, well, multiple. It was not played at all, French, in the last tournament, Golden League 2. And after Golden League 2 ended, a lot of the top players started playing French to try the trade build, to try the Chamber of Commerce, aka COC. So I think the reason why French has a positive win rate is not because French is doing well, it's because of the top 10-15 guys are playing a lot of French and testing it out. And the fact that the top players are playing it so much and it still has 51.5% win rate, you know how it is. But I do think that I'm not sure if French Chamber of Commerce is viable, but there's been some like play styles where you go Chamber of Commerce, you get the upgrades, and then you get second TC, and then you make a bunch of units. So you basically play it like 2 TC build, and then once you push back your enemy, because they will attack you when they see Chamber of Commerce, then you just send all your traders. So you kind of get free workers, and you don't trade immediately, you just kind of wait, and then you go after. So I'm not sure how viable that is in the long run, but that's something that people have been experimenting with. Rus having high win rate, I mean, I mentioned it already. The maps are really, really good for Rus. And then you see China, for the first time in these win rates, it has positive win rate. In most of them, it was at the bottom too. But now it has 51.4% win rate. I mean, China is just a strong civ. It has good maps for it, like Mountain Clearing and Baltic, and Four Lakes are like really, really good map for China. Same with HRE. I think it has a lot of good maps. And then obviously the Malian is crazy. I think that if you were to include stats above like 1.8 or 1.9k rating, I think Malian win rate would be probably 65-70%, because the top players play Malians really, really well, and it's really, really, really hard to beat it. I would expect, like, no joke, 65-70% at least. But yeah, I mean, Malian scouts are broken, and like we've told devs a billion times already, so hopefully they fix it. But we'll see. It's just a very strong civ, and it doesn't seem like it has any counters. Like, I know Ottoman here, it says like it has negative win rate, but I don't think Ottoman counters Malians. It's not that hard to defend your gold pits until you age up to castle, and then you can just beat down the Ottoman army pretty easily. Malian versus Mongols though, 70%. That's kind of insane. That's kind of insane. Like, Malian is insane against French, and it has 66%. Malian versus Mongol is 70% win rate. For those that don't know why that is, I know you might be thinking, like, can't Mongol just tower rush their gold? Well, a lot of Malian players, when they play against Mongol, they open with barracks, they can just defend tower rush with donzos, because you can just throw spears at the villager and then you kill it. And another thing is, if Mongol does not tower rush, then you cannot go trade, because Malian scouts will rip you apart and you don't have walls. So yeah, Malian is pretty good against Mongols, I would say. I'm trying to see if there's any other big, like the fact that, see, this is what I mean. French has 63% against China. That ain't correct, I can tell you that. China destroys French. So I think it's the fact that the top players are playing French a lot and they're probably playing against players who are weaker than them, and those players are playing China. That's why the win rate is the way it is. But yeah, other than that, another thing that's kind of weird to me is HRE having a good 57% win rate against Abbasid, because I think Abbasid counters HRE, but apparently people don't know how to deal with HRE from Abbasid's side, so it is what it is. But yeah, after that, I'm very surprised that Abbasid is in 6th position, and English, Ottoman, Mongol, and Delhi are down there. I do think that Mongol has some rough matchups, and the maps are not too great for Mongol in the current map pool. Like, we do have hybrid maps and kind of like weird maps, and I think civs that excel on those are civs that are like more balanced. I'm surprised that English has 48% though, or 49, I guess. And Ottoman having 48.5, I think Ottoman is probably the least explored civ, because the only real playstyle that people do is, you know, the feudal all-in with Mekter and then just spamming archers and stuff like that. And I think that double TC with Ottoman is not really explored too much, or like more macro play, because people just do that. And maybe people have figured it out, you know, or they got used to... again, I see English is losing a lot to French in HRE. I think both of those civs are good against English. Like, I do think French is good against English, but at the same time, like, super good English player is so hard to kill. It's I mean, that's why it gets banned in tournaments so much. It's really good on hybrid maps. It's pretty much good on every map. It doesn't have any weakness as far as maps go, and it doesn't really have any terrible matchups. Good stuff. And the fact that, see, this is the thing, the fact that English has 48% against Delhi is what I was talking about. Sometimes you cannot look at the win rates and, like, you know, take it for granted. Delhi destroys English. Like, Delhi absolutely destroys English. Like, I think if you think about Delhi against any of the civs, Delhi is probably the most favored against English and Mongol. So the fact that it has bad win rate here, that is not correct. The win rate for Delhi honestly should probably be 60 to 65%. But yeah, not sure how it has under 50, but it is what it is. And then Mongol is kind of struggling. Like I said, the maps are not too good for Mongol, which I'm assuming is part of the reason for it. And in tournaments, you don't really pick Mongols as, like, you know, it's like you start a match and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to pick Mongols and see what happens. Mongol is more picked like a counter pick to something, or you got like a build for a certain map against a certain civ. It's not so much picked as like a solid pick that can go against anything. But I do think it's a good civ. I don't think it's a 9th best civ. Yeah, I think Mongol trade is still good. Mongol Tower Rush, so I don't think people do it as much anymore. So there's some potential, but Mongol, like, the biggest strength, for example, in tournaments with Mongol is the hybrid maps, and we don't really have hybrid maps on the ladder, right? We have 4 lakes, which is technically hybrid, but I look at it as like full water map, right? Because it's water eco. Mongol is not played there or on Baltic, so there's no other water maps for Mongol to kind of shine on. And last but not least, Delhi. Oh wait, I'm dented. Oh yeah, right. Okay, so English does have negative win rate, but still, this is not undented. This is still not representative of how bad this matchup is for English. It is pretty Delhi favored. I don't think it's unwinnable, but it's pretty Delhi favored. Now, Delhi in the end has all negative win rates except English, and that's it, which is kind of crazy to see. I think Delhi is really good against English. It's really good against Mongols. I think it's even / better than Ottoman. Against Abbasid, that's, I would say, a rough matchup for Delhi. HRE is HRE favored, but I think Delhi can win. I don't think this matchup is as bad as it used to be. It used to be like a free win for HRE. I don't think that's the case anymore. China, Delhi, I mean, I talk about this all the time. This is probably the most broken matchup in the game. It is borderline impossible to win this. at like the top level if players are equal skill. Delhi versus French is funny because Delhi counters French. So the fact that Delhi has a 35% win rate against French, I think also has to do with, like I said earlier, the top players playing French a lot and testing around with it. But Delhi should beat French. Delhi against Rus, I think it can go both ways. It's also very map dependent because these two civs usually don't play on the same maps. Delhi against Malians, I think Delhi is okay-ish against Malians, but Malians probably still decent against it. So that's it. It's pretty interesting. Let me check the overall win rate again. It's pretty interesting to see. Yeah, you can see in Diamond, Platinum, and Conqueror, Malians is first or second. And here it's third overall because in lower leagues it's just not played at all. And Mongol actually has the worst win rate. And I think this only happened once before. And I think it was after, if I remember correctly, it was after N4C when Mongol received some big nerfs. Like their towers got nerfed or something. And they were last on the win rates. Or maybe it was before N4C actually. And, well, now they're back down, so. But in general, I think the game balance right now is pretty good, except Malian Scouts. I think the unit is absolutely batshit crazy broken, and it needs to be nerfed. Other than that, I would probably say that there's some like strong units, like China's Zuginu and Fire Lancers. I think are really good, but I wouldn't say China is like overpowered because of it. It's just those units are very strong. And other than that, I don't think any civ is like incredibly good, or it's like it just beats everything. I think Malian is the only civ that seems to be good against everything right now, and it's always a struggle to play against them. But yeah, other than that, I think every civ has, you know, some soft counters. It counters some civs, but in general, very few matchups are like extremely favored to the point where it's like, oh my god, I can't win that matchup. So hopefully we'll see Malian Scout nerfs. Can you explain at the high level how serious counters are in this game? How hard is a hard counter civ? Equal skills means completely unplayable, or just one can go for optimal unit comp? So the one matchup where I would say is at the top level, like if there's a good China player against good Delhi player, I would say Delhi, no joke, has 10% or less to win. And that would require some mistakes from China. I think that matchup is that bad for Delhi. Then you have Delhi versus HRE, which I honestly think it's like 60-40 or 35-65 in favor of HRE. And then you have Delhi English, which is probably the same, like 65-35 or 60-40 for Delhi. Other than that, I would say other match. I'm excluding Malians from this because Malians have a problem with their scouts. But other than that, I would say the win rates, like balance or imbalance, are probably -5 +5%. It's like 45-55, at most, which is, in my opinion, negligible. Like, I don't think that, just because one guy plays this civ and that civ has 53% win rate, is going to win, right? A lot of people don't realize that the way win rates work is if a civ, let's say HRE versus English, right? So the way a lot of people look at stats are like, oh my god, HRE beats English every time. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Let's say it was 52%. That means out of 100 games, HRE wins 52, okay? That's not that bad, right? It's clearly that English can win, and there's some small differences that make HRE kind of edge out a win at some point, right? So I think most of the matchups are like that, but there are some matchups that are favorable. And it usually comes from civs that have like either unique playstyle, aka Delhi, which, if you notice, the three matchups that I mentioned that are like problematic are all Delhi. It's Delhi English, Delhi HRE, and Delhi China. It's because Delhi is very reliant on spamming units and sacred sites, and some civs are really good against that, and some civs are really bad against that. So it creates these weird imbalances. Like, for example, Abbasid is a civ that I think, again, excluding Malians across the board, doesn't have any, like maybe Ottoman is slightly favored against it, but other than that, it doesn't have any counters, or it doesn't really hard counter any civ. It's just an overall solid civ because the way Abbasid plays is just standard, you know, multiple TCs. And same goes for like English, in my opinion. Maybe it has a slight disadvantage, or disadvantage, whatever you call it, against Delhi. But other than that, it's completely fine and playable against any other civ. So there it is. So guys, the balance is okay. You're gonna be fine. If you're, you know, stuck in gold or platinum or diamond, you're not stuck there because, you know, Delhi is OP or French is OP or English is OP. It's not that bad. If you guys want advice for how to climb ladder ranks, I would probably suggest doing this. If you want to play the numbers, the odds. Let's say you're gold, you go to gold right here, boom. You don't learn how to play against Delhi, okay? If you want to climb, you look at number of games. English has 25,000 games in 2 weeks, okay? Other civs, you got French with 12k, A-Tray with 12k. If you learn these 3 matchups, you're gonna advance leagues because you're gonna meet those 3 civs way more. So, you know, instead of balding about win rates and how, you know, oh my civ is 49% win rate again, unplayable. Just, you know, learn how to play, especially against English. Like in Diamond and under, English is the most played civ by far. And if you learn that matchup, whatever civ you are, you're literally gonna do way better. Way better. And civs that are good against English right now are Malian, French is good against English, and then also you have Delhi. That I would say is pretty good. What is the most played civ in Conqueror? Actually, I want to see this. Even though we don't have a lot of games, but it's still English actually. It's not as bad as lower leagues. It's 1.5k, and then you already see Abbasid with 1k, but a lot of French, a lot of Rus. It is what it is. But yeah, that's going to be it. Whenever we have the next patch, which I'm not even sure if we're going to have another mini patch before the next like season patch, because season patches are usually a lot bigger. So I'm not sure if we're going to have another mini patch.
Oh yeah.
But I'm going to be checking win rates then too and see what's happening and kind of go through the stats. If you're watching on Twitch, we're going to keep going. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much for watching. I want you to have a great day. Check me out on Twitch. I'm probably live right now. Twitch gamers. Let's keep going.